I know when you're strolling the aisles of your local supermarket, the home brands don't exactly scream quality. Value, sure, but there's not a lot of premiumness in the middle aisle at Audi. But this could change all that. It's the first product to arrive in Australia from the giant Geely Auto Group. We already have the sub-brands like Volvo, Polestar, Zeekr, even Lotus in Australia. But this EX5 mid-size electric SUV heralds the arrival of the mothership itself. So, the need-to-know stuff. There are two trim levels, the Complete and the Inspire, and the pricing for both is looking like it'll be pretty damn sharp. The brand hasn't confirmed it yet, but they do say they're targeting a range of between 49K and 55K, which would put it well below models like the BYD Sealion 7 or Tesla Model Y. In fact, it puts it pretty close to Leapmotor C10 country, which is 47.5 drive away. Both are front-wheel drive with a single motor up front, making 160 kilowatts and 320 newton meters. And that means this car is brisk, but not lightning fast. It's also set up for 11 kilowatt AC home charging, which is good. And it has a time to charge function in the car, which means you can set overnight off-peak charging if your wall box doesn't allow you to do that. The less good is that its 400 volt architecture only allows for 100 kilowatt DC fast charging, which means the brand says going from 30 to 80% charged in around 28 minutes. Now, for reference, a car like the Xpeng G6 is an 800 volt architecture with 280 kilowatt charging. There's also a 3.3 kilowatt vehicle to load function, which means you can plug things in and run them off the car battery, and a V2V or vehicle to vehicle connection, which means should someone be stranded, you can plug them into your car and help get them home. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the complete equipment list that exists on the Geely website, but suffice it to say, in true Chinese EV fashion, there's a whole lot of kit included. So the real trick with a car like this Geely, though, is the cabin space. I mean, I'm in the back seat here. I'm sitting behind what would roughly be my own driving position. The knee room is crazy, the headroom is crazy, and it is legitimately a 5-seat vehicle in which you can actually fit 5 adult-sized humans. Not that common. And there are a couple of other cool party tricks as well. So you get USB ports, of course, you get air vents, but no temperature controls. But there are little hidey holes like this pull-out drawer under the seat for extra storage, or to put valuables if you're at the beach or whatever, or snacks for road trips, you name it. Now, the boot doesn't sound overly impressive at just over 300 litres with the rear seats in place, but that number does grow to almost 1,900 litres with these seats folded flat. So this is the top shelf Inspire, and it is all about the cabin comforts in this vehicle. So these front seats, they're not just heated and cooled, but they also offer a massage function, and both of them lay completely flat, so you can kind of kick back while you're waiting to charge as well. And in fact, with that one, the passenger seat has a little electric footrest that comes out too, which kind of gives you that business class kind of experience while you're waiting. Plus, there is a 16-speaker Fly Me stereo in this car as well, which absolutely booms, even if it does tend to lose a little bit of clarity when you really turn the volume up. Now, this big central screen is 15.4 inches, plus I've got a driver display in front of me as well, and because this is a top spec car, I also can make use of a head-up display, although I've got to say, on a really bright day when sun's bouncing off the windscreen, it's almost impossible to see. Now, be warned, there's no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto yet, and I know that can be a deal breaker for so many people out there. It would be a deal breaker for me as well. The brand tells us it is definitely coming via an over-the-air update. For the Apple, that should be around the middle of the year, around July. For Android, well, they're not entirely sure when, but they do promise that it is coming. In terms of the drive experience, this is a super competent, super comfortable electric SUV. The power delivery, it's not raucous, it's not going to throw you back in the seat, but it is ample for a car this size. We've had no problem pulling away from lights or overtaking on the freeway, and even now at 75, if I put my foot down, the car lunges forward smoothly and easily, which is really what we've come to expect from EVs, even ones that don't have those stratospheric outputs. Now, the brand also makes the point that this car has been tuned and tested in Australia for its safety systems, but also for its steering and its ride, so basically the way the car handles. And it is very comfortable. The ride is super compliant over our typically pretty dodgy road surfaces. We've had it on all sorts of conditions today, and it's kind of soaked everything up without too much fuss. Now, that being said, it's no sports car. On the really tight and twisty stuff, it does feel heavy. You will hear complaints from the tires, and the traction control system is super quick to just pull all the power away from the accelerator if it thinks things are going to get a bit hairy. So when you put your foot down mid-corner, you'll find there's nothing there. But I would pose the question, does that really matter? Are you going to be throwing this thing up and down an Alpine Pass, or are you looking for a car that's comfortable and spacious for family jaunts? If it's the latter, then this car definitely delivers that. Okay, so perfect timing to talk a little bit about the safety systems. Now, Geely says that they have been tuned in Australia, but I'd like to have a little chat with whoever did that because they still annoy the hell out of me. The very first thing you'll do when you get in is turn off the speed limit warning so it doesn't bing at you if you go 1 kilometre over the speed limit. You'll also turn off the driver monitor so it doesn't bing at you should you yawn or look away from the road for a moment. But even then, they can't be defeated. I don't even know why it was binging then, but it does, and it does it far more often than I'd like it to. Again, I don't know why you're binging at me. So why would I buy one? Because it's quiet, comfortable, competent electric motoring, and it should arrive at a pretty sharp price point. Plus, it's backed by a very big global company. Why wouldn't I buy one? Well, because the tech and safety is still super fiddly and annoying. That big screen looks great, but it is super finicky in places like when you're trying to change the temperature. You find yourself having to jab at the screen multiple times before it responds. That kind of thing would absolutely do my head in over time. The safety stuff is still not perfect. I had it phantom brake for me once while I was in cruise control, and the incessant bonging and chiming would drive me mad as well. Plus, there's just a great mystery around the brand at the moment. They haven't told us yet exactly what it will cost, what the servicing looks like, what the warranty looks like, how many dealers there's going to be, how many products are going to launch in Australia. And all of that stuff is a really big question mark. Now, they're questions that I'm sure the brand will address soon. They've got a big brand launch coming up in March, but for now, it remains a mystery.